Okay. Do 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 do
Okay, cut it.
do.
Okay, well,
All right, give me my
I
20.
was hoping
I'm
I
out of here.
missed that. I
okay.
was so hoping I'd miss that. Son of a...
Foos, hold on. Well, welcome to Hit or Miss. I'm Night Strike, and thank you, Smeggy. I just want to let you guys know who this wonderful co-pilot is, Smeggy42.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Okay.
And now I'm out of here. Have a good show.
All right, see you later. He can't stay, so I'm joined by two other panelists tonight, Foos and Heavy B.
Yo.
What up, Foos? Is he still there?
I hope so.
Ah, shit. I can't hear him. All right, then. Well, what were we going to talk about today? Fuck if I know.
We'll see.
Why don't we go with that email I sent you this morning?
Okay.
Why don't you set up the premise for that? All right.
Oh, great. I get a line and I get to do all the work, too. Great. Awesome. I have no idea what you wanted to know about it. You were talking about the political issues, the NRA Trump speech. What do you think?
We were going to go over that. I don't want to go over that now. I was talking primarily more to the email I sent you this morning about the whole thing where your lieutenant governor decided to pull a dick move.
Well, he hasn't done a dick move yet. Okay. And evidently, it's got to go back to the assembly now.
Oh, and why does it have to go back to the assembly?
Because I was wrong. I thought it had already gone through the assembly. No, it just went through the Senate. Now it's going through the assembly.
So there might be hope for you. There might be hope for you yet.
If the assembly shuts it down, we'll be good to go. But still, we got the assembly, then we got the governor, and then we got legal recourse. So it's not over yet. And if you guys are wondering what I'm talking about those 10 horrific California-style anti-gun laws that they're trying to pass right now. And like I told Night Strike, because he said, looks bad for you. And I said, well, then I guess I'm moving. So, there's that. But I don't know. I may not move. I might fight it out. I may be a glutton for punishment.
Well, you could always come to South Carolina. I've got enough land here. You could get a trailer and just,
That is an option.
You can hide out, back there, as long as you don't mind me shooting every now and then.
No, I just have to be able to find a job too when I'm out there. So,
well, there is an airport. There is an airport nearby, so I'm sure you could do something.
That's true. Very true. We'll see. I might have to take you up on that offer. I'm still trying to find Sean Carter so I can sneak out and then camp out in his backyard.
Well, I'm still trying to find him on Gun Channel so I can send him a link, but he's not on.
Hey, I'm back.
It's Foos.
Hey, Foos, you're here.
Also, and when we have standing on second, he decided to jump in this time.
Sweet. Yeah, we've been having a lot of rainstorms today, and internet's been sucky, and then yeah. But I'm back. I had to reset my router.
And Wendy showed up. Finally.
Woo-hoo.
Wendy, where you been?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
All right. We got some people here. We can talk about stuff. Okay. So let's talk about how shitty California is now.
Oh, boy.
What do you mean now?
This guy's got balls. First he wants me to make up a topic for his show about California, and now that people show up, he wants to fucking dog on California. That's okay. I live here,
You know, WB, you should respect that because you're a Marine.
Yeah, California got a lot worse.
I'm just messing with you. I'm not being serious.
I know. It's cool. What was that, Wendy?
California got a lot worse recently. I worked in California in 2013 for 4 months.
Oh, you're the one.
Yeah, I worked there in the summer of 2013, and
How'd it feel to be the only guy in the state working?
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Hey,
No,
but,
no punches.
But I worked in Northern California, and there are an extreme amount of conservative people in that state, or more libertarian-minded. But their view, coming from the Midwest on gun control, they put up with it. It's very strange. I had a coworker. He had Garands, he had Mini 14s, M1As. A lot of 1911s, some really nice stuff. And he actually told me that he was in favor of registering with the state. And we would have long discussions about how that was a bad idea. At least that was my view of it. And he just
out
couldn't.
of his mind.
That's what I couldn't understand. And this is an extremely rational, very conservative individual. I was shocked when I learned this. And
Wait,
then
hold on. Did he make a lot of money? Or did did he do well for himself?
He did all. He made what I'm making now. So he made probably $50,000 a year. So.
Which in California is like $30,000 a year.
Well, Northern California, it's a little bit more affordable. But, they were just an average middle-class household, kind of blue-collar roots, and that was his view. And I could not take convincing to him that was a bad idea.
I don't understand that.
And then he tried to tell me I could take my AR-15s there if I took a job there, and I just kind of laughed at him. I was like, no. No, I'm not going to. And the sad part is that group of guys I was working with, I would have definitely taken the job there if it wasn't for the state and their state laws. The people in Northern California they were really good people, but I couldn't do it. I just couldn't bring myself to that. But sure.
Sorry, Wendy, you actually brought up two things that I think are my positions on California. One is the people in the majority of the state, let's say north of Bakersfield and anywhere out in the desert that's not the cities, are normal American, loving people. The state gets ruined by three cities: L.A., San Francisco, and Sacramento. And everybody else in that state gets screwed. And it's evident by the amount of guns and ammo that are sold in California. It's actually the #1 market for firearms and ammunition in the country. There's this great gun culture there, but it gets overshadowed by all the dummies in the city. And all the hardworking people out in the farm areas get screwed.
It's not just the people out in the farm areas getting screwed, it's everybody getting screwed. I live in San Bernardino, and I'm getting, if this shit passes, I'm fucked. So, it's not just the people in the cities. There are good people everywhere. It's just we have a large proportion of shitheads and a large proportion of fucking idiots. And the shitheads and the fucking idiots get together a lot, and they make a lot of noise, and they go what they want.
That's what happens whenever you have a pure democracy.
Well, don't worry. Don't worry. Hillary's gonna get the. She's gonna be the Democratic nominee. Bernie supporters are gonna riot and split the Democratic Party, and they're all gonna vote for Trump, and Trump's gonna win.
That would be fucking awesome.
I think that might actually happen.
I think so too.
Trump has actually gotten, according to studies, Trump has actually gotten a 37% swing from the millennial parties. So it's like he's got an increase of 37% approval from the millennials.
It's funny if you look at Trump versus Bernie, their ideals are basically the same. They just have a different method to get the result. They want to get money out of politics. They're both the quote unquote self-funded candidates. They're calling out the establishment and corruption. So idealistically, they're very similar. It's just the method to which they want to solve the problem is polar opposite. So if the end is more important than the means, then I would see Bernie supporters jumping over to Trump way quicker than to Hillary.
I hope that happens. God, I hope that happens.
All right, I guess we're gonna get into this anyways. I wish Matt was here so he could go and give his whole side of the thing, but we had a good discussion last night after his podcast, and basically the surmise was, yeah, or as Sean Connery says, "Ho dang." You seen his image? That was ridiculous, but. The surmise is that we need a third party. Granted, it doesn't matter what that party is. It could be the Libertarians. It could be another one of the small parties here in the United States. But here's the thing. We don't have a two-party system. What we have is a political system of which two parties dominate the political system, but there are still smaller parties that are existing within our country. So I dislike when people say we have a two-party system, which it's not true, because if it was just a two-party system, then that would mean that there would not be any other parties at all in the United States. So,
can I ask you a quick thing on that?
Yeah.
If there's multiple parties, but only two parties are really in control, wouldn't that still make it just a two-party system?
No. It would and it wouldn't, because that would imply that because it's just a two-party system that there are no other choices out there, period.
Well,
okay?
Technically you're correct that we don't only have two parties, but functionally and in reality, the world we have to live in, it functions as a two-party system. Here's where I would caution getting too watered down with choices and too many political parties. And if you look at places that have a parliamentary system, let's take Canada for example, the prime minister can be elected with less than 30% of the vote, or barely 34% of the vote. So you never actually have a majority, and you never actually can get a lot of things done, because even though we don't get much done here, it's so much worse in those systems that have 3 or 4 parties, because you never have a big group of people pulling in one direction. It's always so fragmented. So there's plus and minuses to both. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I don't get paid enough to know that, but there are cautions to both sides.
Let me finish, okay?
But you know that the government is supposed to be stagnant. That's how the founders are, created. They don't want government to move fast.
No, but here's the thing. They also set in place in our government the ability to have multiple parties in this country, not just one side or the other. So technically, and I say technically because some of these parties that I'm going to mention are only have a small percentage. Sometimes they're not even technically a party. Sometimes it's just people who are independent and they don't belong to any party. But the issue is, we have lots of parties in the United States. Like, mainly, before it was the Libertarians that wanted to be the third party, for years and years and years, it was Ralph Nader and the Green Party. Right? You guys remember Ralph Nader, right?
Yeah. And the thing is as soon as there's a second party, I think a third and fourth will pop up, and either the Democrats or Republicans will cease to exist. And I'm thinking it'll be. I'm hoping both of them.
I take the view of this. If more parties are able to bring themselves up to at least a fighting chance, I'm not going to say they're going to be on the equal level, as the current parties that are in power right now, or that are the majority, we'll say. They won't be able to be as strong, but if they are able to get in the elections and actually get some votes here and there, even in the Senate, House of Representatives, that kind of thing, even to the point where we might even have, 3 different people running for president. That would be great. But the thing is, as we said, that our system is and isn't a two-party system. It is in the fact that there are only 2 parties that ever run for president, that ever, get elected, okay, as far as, the Senate or president. But it isn't in the fact that we do have other parties, okay? And I know I've already mentioned this, but I just want to be clear on this.
Well, I think the third-party issue is exposure. And, and that comes down to money. So you guys remember Ross Perot. I kind of remember him. I was just a kid when all that happened.
Yeah, I remember him in 96, right?
Yeah. So after he took out that TV ad that he paid for on the Big Three, his popularity shot up, and he gave a true, honest, I guess you could call it third-party run for the White House, and that was the last time. And then after that happened, the Democrats and the Republicans really panicked, and then they set up the rules for, the debates and all that kind of stuff, and kind of really set the ball in motion for their lockdown of two dominant parties. So, and I kind of blame, with today's age of the internet, I think some of the blame for lack of exposure falls upon, we'll say, the libertarian. I mean, when's the last time you've seen Gary Johnson do anything? The only thing I've seen him do is a Joe Rogan podcast. That's the only exposure I've seen of Gary Johnson. And, it's very limited. And I just think there's other ways for them to get their message out there, such as that. And I think if they got their message out to the millennials, I think a lot of millennials would agree with a lot of things that third party says.
I don't think it's just the millennials, though, as a whole.
You said something really important earlier about independence and being the third party. Actually, independents, for the first time, I think it was in the 2012 election, maybe it was 2008, but independents outnumbered Democrats and Republicans. So I think that we're headed towards a more free system, if you will, where people aren't tied down to their party, and I think like the closed primaries and stuff will go away. So you will get a more true reflection of where people stand with the actual candidates, and there will be less party politics. But I think that if you look at what happened with the Tea Party, these Tea Party people came in, such as Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio, and Trey Gowdy, they all got in as Tea Party candidates, and then immediately were co-opted and ran by the Republicans, and basically fell into the same old tricks. And that actually kind of killed the Tea Party movement because they got those 8 or 9 people in, and then all of a sudden it was like business as usual.
I think the Koch brothers killed the Tea Party, but that's a separate discussion.
I don't want to get into that.
All right, there's one of your viewers on YouTube, Freeport, he says, and I think he's right. The third party issue should be handled after the election. We should be focused on what's important right now, and then once we get somebody into office, then start focusing on for the next time the third party, the fourth party, things like that. And I agree with him. I wholeheartedly. We need to focus all our attention on making sure fucking that stupid thunder cunt doesn't get into office.
Of course, because
So I mean, we need to look to the future, but we need to handle what's in front of us first.
Right. But as I was talking with Matt, he's saying he really wants to see the Libertarians as a third party, and I told him, well, that would be great, but I don't want to see just the Libertarians as a third party. I'd like to see, in all honesty, I'd like to see at least 4 or 5 parties running for president, having that they all have different views, different leanings, as you will, but it would be nice to have more of a variety than the thundercut Hitler version of the Democrats, or the evil corporate takeover of the Republicans. Okay, it'd be nice to have choices other than that. And don't say Gary Johnson, because newsflash, before Gary Johnson was a libertarian, guess what he was? He's the Republican governor of New Mexico. Newsflash, he's Republican.
Have you guys heard of Austin Peterson?
Yes, I've heard of Austin Peterson, and I will say this on Austin Peterson. I really wish he would get the libertarian vote, just because the factor that he doesn't like the NFA. He has stated that he's built his own AR-15 rifles. He is strongly supportive of the Second Amendment. As Gary Johnson's track record on the Second Amendment, I'll be honest, he's more towards Trump's side, where
Yeah.
he could go one way or the other and give a rat's ass about the Second Amendment.
Well, I think
His voting record or his vetoing records, his record as governor of New Mexico shows that.
I think you nailed it. Johnson is a failed Republican trying a new route as a libertarian. I think Austin Peterson is a libertarian from the jump. And if you look at his principles, even though I don't agree with all of them, he takes the libertarian approach to the maximum. He is about freedom and limited federal government to the extreme, which I think that it might not be the right approach to win the White House, but it is, I think, the right approach to get that 1% vote that they need to be on the in the debates and then on the ballot eventually.
Yeah, and in my conversation from last night, as I'm continuing this, Matt Never Enough Ammo had said that that in areas of which it won't hurt Trump and won't help Hillary, we should vote for the third party. And while I can see that and I understand where he's coming from, but I'm afraid if that happens, the Democrats and the Electoral College may just decide to give it to Hillary instead of Trump. Because the Electoral College is all kinds of fucked up. You guys know this. I know this. I've tried to figure it out. I don't understand how it works. I'll be honest. I don't understand how the Electoral College is even a thing. But it is. You know, I've tried to figure it out, but
well, it goes back to protecting from mob rule. You know, I mean, it's convoluted for sure, but it has a purpose. I don't know if it's as relevant today as it was when everybody was in wagons riding horses around and couldn't get somewhere to have their voice heard. But, you know, I think that the majority of things that were set up were done for a reason and were put there by people that had a lot more foresight than I do. So, I don't know, I guess.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is, granted, that would set precedents for a third party, but the problem is it may also hurt the Republicans that are on the bandwagon of keeping your Second Amendment rights as they are right now. That's the party line from the party. Granted,
was he talking? I'm sorry. Was he talking about like on the lower ballot, like for senators and commissioners and things like that, like county commissioners, senators?
Yeah, I think he was talking about where it doesn't affect the vote of presidency. It just affects the vote on, you know, whether you lean Republican or Democrat or you vote for Republican or Democrat in like state, city, Senate, that kind of thing. I think that's where he was going with that. And while that's good, but as far we came to the conclusion, as far as this election is concerned, if you are a gun owner, if you believe in the Second Amendment, you believe in the Bill of Rights, which is the first 10 amendments of the Constitution, if you believe in that, you really have to take the choice of Trump over Hillary just for the fact that he's not going to take our rights away, unlike Hillary, who has stated that she wants to take everything away. And then she goes to another state and says, "Oh, I don't want to take your guns away, hunters. You know, sportsmen. I don't want to take your guns away. I just want stricter common sense gun laws," which is the same damn thing as taking them away. But people don't realize that, and some people are just fucking dumb.
Well, I agree with you.
Realizing it more than you think, according to the polls, anyway.
I agree with you on that, Night Strike, about if you're in a swing state. If you're in Ohio or Virginia, you know, you have to vote Trump if you want your gun rights. But I'm in North Dakota, so I could vote for Mickey Mouse. Trump's still going to get the nomination here.
Okay,
or like
if you do that, Wendy, if you do that and say Trump only wins by 2%, that's in the margin of error, and the Electoral College decides to elect Hillary in. How are you going to answer that then? Because the popular vote, the only way the Electoral College will be overturned is if the popular vote exceeds the margin of error.
Yeah, but it won't be overturned because look at the Gore-Bush election of 2000. You know, technically Gore won the popular vote, but Bush won the Electoral College. So
yeah, you're right, and it was like by 2% or something like that. We have never had an Electoral College choose a different president with a popular vote when the popular vote was beyond the margin of error.
Absolutely. I understand where you guys are coming from.
Vote the way you want. It's your right. This is your God-given right. But remember,
your vote has consequences.
Exactly, and you must be willing to pay them.
Yeah. You know, I'm only giving people advice. I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm not telling you need to go out and go do this. You know, I'm just merely suggesting. That's it.
Well, I think what you're doing is you're making a clear cause and effect relationship of if you value A, B, and C, then you need to do X, Y, and Z, which is fair. And I think we would all agree that if you care about not only your Second Amendment right, but your First Amendment, your Fourth Amendment, all the amendments or the Bill of Rights, that Trump's the right candidate. Only because we know Hillary is against free speech, she's against the Second Amendment, she's definitely against the Fourth Amendment. I mean, we know she is opposed to a good amount of the Bill of Rights. So what's stopping her from, running roughshod on it and appointing SCOTUS appointments that are going to just diminish rights left and right? Not only gun rights, but every right.
And that brings up the issue of the Supreme Court nominees. I think that is the number one driving issue in this election, because it's going to be whoever gets elected this time. History shows that chances are they're going to be reelected in 4 years. It's, always the incumbent's advantage. And those old geezers, they ain't going to make it another 8 years,
Yeah, some people think it could be 3 or 4 appointments.
All right, so that's all I wanted to say. I could go on.
Also, this thing on people not worrying about the millennials. That's exactly who you need to worry about.
Well, I don't
know. Future voters.
I didn't just say don't worry just about the millennials. I said the fact is we need to worry about everyone. It's everyone in the United States that is affected by this, not just the millennials. Yes, they're starting to vote. Yes, their vote is important, but the problem is they're not the only demographic here in the United States.
No, they're not. But they're the largest.
Well, to put a nice little bright light on the whole election, the only good thing I really see coming out of this next election cycle is Barbara Boxer's not running anymore, so she'll be out of office. So that's a win in our book, regardless of what happens.
I'm not sure. All right. And anyways, let's move on. There's something else. I wanted to get your opinion on something. Are you guys aware of what's going on here in the United States right now, besides just the politics of the presidential election?
Increased taxes?
No, a little. It's happened over the past couple days.
California jail gang raping a citizenry.
They do that all.
Bathrooms.
That's no surprise. All right, I'll just go ahead and tell you guys. All right, one of the YouTube viewers who watches all the gun channel stuff. He watches match chats. He watches G-Web's stuff. He watches everything. Mr. Knives. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's on YouTube.
Yeah, I know him. He's on my channel too. He's subscribed to my channel. So he really does watch everything.
He mentioned the other night on one of the lobby chats I was hosting, because Pink was at NRA annual meeting. He mentioned that Obama is going to go and start trading with Vietnam again.
Yes.
Because we've embargoed them. And then just the day after he said that, Obama just announced that we're dropping the embargo on Vietnam, just completely. And that kind of pissed me off.
Well, think about it. Obama has made friends with every dictator he can. The only one he hasn't made friends with yet is Kim Jong-un. Everybody else he's buddying right up to. Iran, Cuba, Vietnam, all of them. And, I mean, those are the people he looks up to. Those are the company he likes to keep.
I know, but here's the thing. Some of the people on gun channels are old enough to have known people or had family members that served in Vietnam, like their older brothers or sisters, uncles, aunts. That
Yeah, my uncle lost his finger in Vietnam. He left a finger there.
I hope it was the middle one.
Yeah, my uncle got cancer from Agent Orange from being in Vietnam.
Monsanto.
Yeah, and the thing is, you do realize that because of this embargo, they're also lifting the weapons embargo too, so they can either buy or sell weapons. And the thing is, there are millions of rifles that belong to the United States government that we just left in warehouses on the docks that are still there in Vietnam that they parade around as a museum because they haven't touched them. They probably opened a couple of them, but they primarily kept them as is. Just to show that, hey, we won against the Americans.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Civilian marksmanship program?
Yeah. Only if Trump successfully wins and repeals the NFA. The GCA and the 1934, that's the only way you're going to get that back. But I don't believe this is right. Vietnam, while granted the people in charge of Vietnam are only the people who are related to those who did fight for it, But the issue is, I don't believe that we should go and drop the restrictions or whatever on them because, it just seems it's too soon. And the reason Obama's doing it is just to piss off China and have somebody else poking at China instead of, I guess us or someone else.
Well, here's the question I always ask when I see him doing these things. Why now? What's the motivation and why do it now? And for everything he says that we should be over here, his actions with foreign policy prove that he is 100% opposite to that. I mean, look at the human rights violations of the Vietnamese government. It's pretty clear.
And all I have to say is foreign policy, he doesn't have one. He drew a line for the Russians not to do anything with Syria, and they walked over it and kept on walking for a mile.
No, he has a foreign policy. It's to buddy up with all the communist dictators he can.
That aren't Russia.
Because that's what he wants his country to be like.
Exactly. And the reason why he won't buddy up with Putin is because Putin doesn't like him, and Putin thinks he's a pussy. So if he could buddy up with Putin, he would, but Putin doesn't want to be his homie.
Wow, I did not expect you to put it like that.
That's Stone Guy-ish.
You guys know the pool story, right? When Obama and Putin were at some conference, I think it was a G8 conference or something like that, and they both had scheduled to use the pool at the same time, and Obama was making a big fuss about it. So Putin was like, cool, you can have the pool. He went outside in the freezing snow, took his shirt off and swam in the lake, and came back and was like, you think you're a pool pussy American, I'm good. And that was that. He completely punked Obama out.
Yeah, that's the problem. Obama doesn't have a backbone. Do we really want to elect another Democrat that's just going to go and do much of the same?
Could you imagine Hillary Clinton sitting across from Putin?
It's just not a Democrat. It's anybody that doesn't have a backbone. It doesn't matter what party they are. We can't have another president that has a backbone like a wet spaghetti.
Made out of red vines?
Something like that.
But, yeah, I don't think we should be buddying up or even, not interfering but interacting with these communist governments until, one, they fix their human rights violation, two, they become a bit more open. And when I say a bit more open, I mean, more hospitable to their civilians.
You mean more transparent, which is what Obama was supposed to be all about, and he's proven to be exactly the opposite.
Exactly.
Well, to play devil's advocate, you could say that China, we shouldn't have open trade relations with China, but we did in the 70s.
Because of Nixon.
Yeah, and then, at post-80s, post-Tiananmen Square, their human rights have gotten better. I mean, granted, it's not up to Western standards, but, it is a more open country than what it used to be 2-3 decades ago. So there is progress, I think, on that front. But, I think one of the biggest driving factors in these countries is the internet. I think that's brought information. Granted, it's restricted, but it's still, information trickles in about how the rest of the world works. And I think the people that live in these countries, they see that and they want change. And I think that does bring about change, even though it takes a long time to cycle through, the generations of people. So I don't necessarily think this is the worst thing that Obama could have done, but I don't think it's a great thing. I think the Cuba thing is a little bit worse than the Vietnam thing.
I think all of it happening as soon as it has. I'm not going to say it's crippling the United States, but I'm saying I am saying that it may negatively affect us in some way.
Well, Wendy, I think you made a good point on the Vietnam thing. Isn't that big of a deal by itself, but if you look at the pattern and if you look at all of the things combined, it is a big deal because he's softening restrictions and bolstering the economies of known hostile regimes in multiple locations. At the same time, cutting military spending, making our defenses weaker than ever. I mean, we're having planes fall out of the sky. Our fighter jets aren't at a adequate level of response time. Their parts are at all-time low. I have a buddy that's an F-22 pilot up in Alaska, and his flight time has been cut down dramatically in the last 3 years. Just training. And he's the best of the best. I mean, he flies F-22 Raptors.
Well, you're comparing probably the largest buildup of the last 10 years in the military versus the last couple of the Obama administration. My brother, he just got out of the Navy now, and he was saying how the Navy today, he got out last week. He was saying that the Navy today is not the Navy he joined in 2002. Just with the policies and the personnel, it's definitely a different breed. But I'm sure that people have been saying that for decades when they get out of the military.
Well,
but it's just, with all this trade stuff. Here's a question I guess we could bring is: do you think Trump's going to get tough on China, or do you think it's all pre-election talk?
I'm
going to be conservative and say it's probably going to be half and half.
Well, here's the thing: we better hope he doesn't do what he says he's going to do, because as a economic policy, that's disastrous. It sounds good and it's rah-rah and everything like that, but as an economic policy, what he's proposing would be disastrous.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think half and half would probably be a good, some tariffs would probably be a good start, but I think he would totally cripple. That's one economy you don't want to intentionally cripple. So.
Well, you don't punish people for leaving. You incentivize them to stay. So when you're talking about like Carrier going to Mexico and Ford and all that stuff, you don't punish them for leaving because they're going to eat those punishments up and say fine, we'll pay, and then just pass that down to the consumer. What you do is you reward them to stay and you capitalize on the jobs they create domestically to get your revenue as a government. And that way,
you give them 6 months, and they're going to turn that reward into not getting that reward being a punishment. So they're just going to flip it around, and then they're going to pass that on to the consumer again, because that's just the way that's just the way things end up working.
I'm sorry, go through that again.
the absence of reward, they're going to view that as punishment. These companies will look at it as, oh, they're getting a reward for staying here. Oh, so that means that if we don't, then we're getting punished by not getting said reward. That then gets passed on down because they're not getting that, so they're seeing that as a cost rather than as a reward for doing it. They're just seeing it as it's a punishment unless they do it.
Well, you can incentivize things. You can incentivize doing business here by other ways than subsidizing, which I think is what you're saying is like subsidizing, giving them money. You can incentivize.
No, I'm not saying giving them money. I'm saying whatever that reward happens to be, the absence of that reward, they will turn that into being viewed as a punishment.
You mean once the reward?
See what I'm
goes
saying?
If you give the reward to some and not others, the others
give somebody a reward,
punish for not getting a reward.
Yeah, if they're not getting it, then they see that as a punishment. So they're going to turn it on itself, just like if they were getting punished for not doing business here.
Well, what I'm saying is like a company like Ford, right? Instead of paying huge tariffs on anything they try and bring in, you lower their taxes on the things that they produce here, so that they don't have to, so that their margins are higher for domestically produced product.
Yeah, and that would be a reward. So they would see it as if they're doing business and not producing things here, they would be, the punishment would be not having those lowered taxes. So they're gonna twist that. Business will twist that to make it where it's something that they're going to have to. This is something that they could be getting. They could be getting those lower taxes, but they're not because they don't want to do business here.
Well, here's the thing.
They want to do business where it's cheaper to do business.
Well, here's the thing.
They're going to pass on those costs that they would have been saving had they been doing business here. So they're going to pass that on to the consumer because they choose to do business there instead.
But
so they're still going to get that bottom line. But they're still getting that same bottom line. It's not going to cost them at the end of the day.
But here's what you have to understand is to do business internationally is so much more expensive. It's so much more work, so much more labor intensive. The reason why people have chosen to do that is because the government here makes it so difficult to do business. If you look at the cost of doing business across the globe, so let's say you're from Texas, right? And you set up a business and you have to start producing something in China, you have to do business on an 18-hour time cycle. You have to learn customs, learn cultures, learn tax code, pay lawyers. The cost is immense. And if you make the cost of doing business in America lower than that, people won't choose to go somewhere else. The fact is that over the last 40 years, the cost of doing business in America has risen so high that it's actually cheaper to incur all those costs of going international and all those headaches, and that's why people are doing it. It's not because they want to send their business over to China. It's because
it's cheaper. It's cheaper to do that.
Right, because the cost of doing business here is so high. So
unless it's cheaper here, then they're still going to go there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You incentivize it by making it less burdensome to do business here. So I think it's over 40% of Americans have to be licensed to do their job. The extra employee insurance and the mandates and all these government licenses that you have to do, it's all incurred costs of business. It's incredible the cost that it takes to do business here in the United States. It's incredible. And rather than punishing someone for going away, you lower that cost of doing business here, and then because they're going to take the path of least resistance. The problem is we've set up so much resistance in the chain here in America to do business here. I work for an international company, a company that does business and is based originally overseas, and just the amount of just cost for operating a business in 2 separate time zones is, basically opposing day cycles is incredible. The cost of dealing with 2 separate governments. You have to deal with the foreign government and the domestic government. And that'll tell you how much, if you really start breaking it down and looking at it by detail, that'll show you how expensive it has actually become to do business in the United States. Sorry.
All right, I'm getting requests from people on YouTube to actually talk about guns. So going back to the Vietnam thing, if Vietnam can start selling guns, not that I'm saying this is a good thing or a bad thing, but does that mean we're going to start getting M16A1s, more M1 carbines, and things like that?
No.
Not going to happen because of the holes that make it a machine gun.
Not that. Not even that. It's got to do with something it's got something to do. Well, not even that though, because they're semi-automatic rifles that are over there that could be shipped back. But not even talking about the M16s, but just other rifles that are over there that could be shipped back that wouldn't be 922R. But that's not going to happen because of something, I can't remember what it was, but something else though Obama did about shipping surplus rifles back over.
Was that part of the Trans-Pacific Partnership?
It may have been.
What about parts kits? That when they first said that was the only thing I could think of.
I don't know if it had anything to do with parts kits or not, but I know that surplus rifles that were overseas in certain countries.
Wasn't that the thing with the M1s from Korea when he stopped?
Yeah, that was part of it. Yeah, that was part of it.
So
but,
something they need to do.
Vietnam, I believe, was also on there.
Yeah, but
something they need to do is just take the receiver off.
Vietnam.
They just need to take the receiver off, ship the rest of it back.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see a Colt SP1 clone or something like that. They could just take an upper off and then throw it on a cheap lower here in the States, and then sell it that way. That would be pretty cool if CMP did that.
Yeah, just take the receiver and bring everything else, trigger kit, everything.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that Colt is allegedly going to put out some SP1 style rifles.
Yeah,
they're semi-auto.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be really cool. I'd be interested in one of those. I've always liked the 600 series from Colts or the 700 series rifles.
All right. I wanted to bring up something else. So, is it alright if I do that, or are we still on about those rifles, those parts?
You're the boss.
Do I need another beer for this?
You might need another beer, maybe
okay.
A shot.
Hold on, let me grab one.
Do you really have to hold on for him, or are we just going to go on anyways?
I think we should go on. There was a question in YouTube. The Trans-Pacific, was that the Trans-Pacific, whatever it was, partnership? Does it get to use the men's bathroom or the ladies' bathroom?
Whatever it decides to identify with.
Well, it's trans, so it might identify with, like, frogs, too. You never know.
It depends on the day. On Wednesday, I heard on Wednesday it's going to use the ladies, and on Thursday it's going to use the men, so.
Are you talking about Clinton or Obama?
Both.
Oh, yeah.
No one knows. No one knows. All right. I'm going to throw this in there. Have you guys heard about the Mossberg lawsuit? Mossberg is suing 12 companies over a drop-in trigger patent.
Yes.
Yep.
You've heard about that?
Wait, for a drop-in trigger patent, meaning for any rifle, or like the idea of having an entire trigger patent contained?
Well, it's
I'm not
for
sure.
the patent that they have. Well, it's a specific patent they bought it from whoever the hell it is that it's whichever trigger that it's based on. That's the original patent. Mossberg bought that patent several years ago, and now they're deciding to act on their rights under that patent. It covers several different triggers, use basically that same design.
The Chip McCormick style.
That's it.
Drop
yeah,
in.
the Chip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait,
Oh,
let
so
me
it's
list
really
off
Mossberg.
the companies that Mossberg is suing. Rise Armament, Franklin Armory, Tactical Fire Control, Velocity Triggers, Patriot Ordnance Factory, KE Arms, Hogan Guns, Elfman Tactical, DOA Arms, Black Rain Ordnance, Battle Tested Equipment, and Trigger Tech.
Dude, I
is
just
it
got a
basically-
free K&E trigger sent to me.
I'm guessing
Basically,
this
what
is
it boils down to is that it's kind of a dick move on their part to do that at this point, anyway, because those companies have been building those triggers for a while now. Some of them quite a while, but they're fully within their rights as a patent holder to do that, because all those triggers are basically built the same. They're all basically the same design.
Check out what. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, Sean. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just saying that they're basically the same design with just a few minor differences in them, but they all fall within that patent, and they're fully within their rights to sue them.
So,
I mean, it's just kind of a dick move to do it.
Right. Check out Heavy. If you want to paste that link that I pasted in the side chat there, and send that over to the YouTube side, so the guys in the YouTube chat can check out what CMC said about it. They basically just said what Sean said.
So it's drop-in trigger packs for the AR.
Yeah.
So why isn't guys?
I don't think it's just ARs though. I think there's some other rifles that use triggers that are based on that same design.
Geometry and things. Well,
but what gets me is why is Geisley, Timney, and stuff like that isn't in there?
Because they pay a royalty to Mossberg.
Gotcha.
So, but from what it looked to me, the drop-in trigger isn't that complicated as far as the patent design.
But there's a patent on it.
There is a patent on it.
Thing.
But it looks like it's just the regular mil-spec trigger set in just a little package instead of just
That's what the patent did. That's the patent, is that package.
Hey, Standing, sorry I can't share it over there. It won't let me.
How do I paste it over? Do I go to Knight's YouTube channel?
Put it on the gun channel.
YouTube does not allow you to put a link in their text chat.
So put it over in the gun channel. I'll put it in the gun channel's lobby for hit or miss, and then tell people to come over and check it out.
I got it. Thank you.
You can put it in the description after it renders the thing. Night Strike can put it in the description after
can do it now.
renders.
Link in
Oh,
the
you can do it now. I thought you had to wait till it rendered. I don't ever screw with any of that stuff till after
No.
I don't even put tags and shit in ours until after it renders.
I don't
The link
screw
here.
any of that ever.
So can I just say something a little bit off topic? Just real
If
quick.
you must.
Okay. Sean, good to see you again, buddy. I haven't seen you since my first night on the live chat, so I missed you. Glad to see you here, buddy.
I don't get to come by all that often anymore.
Yeah, well, good to see you either way.
All right. So I think I posted that link. Is that the right link you wanted to post? So
I think so. It's just the CMC Trigger Corp Facebook post regarding that.
right. So I think it's about ready to wrap. About time we wrap this up and start heading out.
You're gonna start worrying about needing some sleep.
No. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to bring up or they'd like to plug or anything they want to talk about instead of just killing it right now.
Friday Night Sights. Not this coming up Friday, but the next Friday. It's every other week. Come check it out.
Friday Night Sights, is that what you said?
Yeah, Friday Night Sights is my show. It's on the Heavy V channel on YouTube and on gun channels.
What about you, Foos?
Hopefully we could start getting a reloading chat in again. We need to start doing that night.
Yeah, we do, and the problem is, it's kind of dependent on Ballistic, because we were expecting him to help out, and he said he would, and then,
His work schedule.
His work schedule and the fact that I guess his trigger finger isn't as responsive as he thought.
Uh-oh.
I don't know where I was going with that, but I thought it was funny.
Yeah, no
Is that
idea.
a euphemism for something?
It might be.
I think he was saying if an erection lasts longer than 4 hours, call a doctor.
I don't think I was.
Is he
going
even
that
old
far.
enough for the erection?
I don't know, but he was in your hotel room during that one chat, and
I'm still wondering if he was, because I didn't see anything. I won't see anything.
Ooh. All right. I want to thank my panelists tonight for showing up. Foos, you're always welcome.
Bullshit.
What do you mean bullshit?
I'm not always welcome.
You're always welcome to hit or miss.
Okay. I'm good then.
Heavy B, thanks for showing up, and everyone remember to check out his channel, Friday Night Sights. What time is it?
It's 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, so it'll be 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and it's every other Friday. So it's not this coming up Friday, but the following Friday. Don't worry, I'll be back on report everybody about it later.
All right, outstanding. And Sean Carter, thanks for showing up.
Yeah, no problem.
And
Andalusia Armory?
Do what?
Said no plugs for Andalusia Armory and Shop
Yeah, Andalusia Armory Shop Talk, Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Central Time. Yeah, I'm kind of tired.
yeah, standing. It's nice that you can make it. That's where you plug your YouTube channel, bro.
Are you talking to
Yes, standing on second.
me? You're breaking up. Yeah, standing on Twitter. Check me out
All right.
there. Also send me a friend request. Love to talk to you guys.
Awesome. Wendy, thank you as always for coming out.
Yeah, no problem. And I want to say, take someone shooting that doesn't go often. I did that this weekend, and I made another AR-15 convert. So just spreading the good word.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
And if anybody's watching this later on after the podcast is over and it's not live anymore, and it's just one of the videos on my YouTube channel, be sure to go over to gunchannels.com, sign up. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. Start participating in the forums we've got. We've got, a trading post even if you want to trade things. It doesn't have to be just guns. It could be accessories, scopes, that kind of thing. Talk to people. We have live chats, whether it be text chat or actual Google Hangouts chats, and be part of the community. We'd love to have you. So I'm going to steal this from Matt, but on that note, this was
Wait, hold on.
All right.
Don't forget the AK-47 buyer's guide.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
It's
That's
also
the other.
free to join, and it is also a really cool site. It give you all the information you want to know about AK-47s, and I do believe they have chats in there too with AK-47 people.
One would hope. They totally have chats there. Anyways, I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now. Thank you for listening.
Wait, one more thing.
Just kill it already.
Go ahead and kill it.
Button.
Bye, Felicia.
This was hit or miss.